Hey guys, TecTimmy here. So in this video, I am going to help you set up a smart college dorm room or college university apartment for about $139. Let's get into it. Okay, so what I did was I actually did quite a bit of research on this for you guys, wanting to get you the best overall deal. Well, it's been a while that I've been in school. I graduated Northeastern University in, I think it was around 92, so it's definitely been a few years. But I do remember being on a very tight budget and you know, for this video, I basically just want to save you guys as much money as possible and get you some quality products that will let you basically make your dorm room a little bit smarter and hopefully your term a little bit more enjoyable. When I was in college, I was definitely spending my money on other things aside from tech. We won't say what that is, or no blaming here. But yeah, so if you want to spend your money on other stuff, this stick around to the end of the video because I think I've got some really solid recommendations here to get you guys make your dorm a little bit smarter and hopefully your term and also your studies a little bit easier and more enjoyable. So first, and so I should say, so what I did was I actually ran my recommendations by ChatGPT, and he agreed, or she agreed, I should say, with a few exceptions and corrected me in a few places. I own most of the products here, and I think what I'll do is I will step through the products on Amazon, just because that I think is where you're going to get the best deal overall. Some of these things are available on TikTok Shop, different brands, different quality and so forth. But these are my recommendations for tried and true smart home brands that I've used over the course of the past 5 years that I can recommend with confidence. So all right, so without further ado, and so what I'll do is we'll go down through the 6 different products, which for $139 is actually will give you a really good start to making your dumb dorm room smart, if you will. And then what I'll do is I'll go through each product, tell you, my own individual experience and thoughts about it. And then what we'll do is we'll go down, through the table I created here, and I will expose the next one on the list as we go down through the table, just so we don't get overwhelmed or confused. So, okay. So first on the list is the Amazon Echo Dot with my friend ALEXA. I'm a big ALEXA guy. Granted, she can be very frustrating at times. Sometimes you get the right answer. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes I didn't quite get that. And with a lot of the smart home stuff, it basically comes down to how you set it up initially out of the gate. With ALEXA devices, particularly, they're, I think, the most user-friendly. There's also, you guys probably know this already, but we have Apple Siri and Google Home as probably the top 2 competitors to my friend ALEXA. But in terms of getting the most bang for your buck and in terms of getting started, I think easy to set up with the Amazon ECHO devices, and also relatively affordable, and it'll give you a broad range of smart home applications. So all of the devices in my list here today you can control with ALEXA, and more specifically the Echo Dot. So I own a number of Echo Dots, including the 5th gen, which is in the other room. Just kind of prove the point here. I still have a 3rd gen on my desk, which is still one of my favorite devices of all. I have basically every generation of the Echo and multiple devices here in my apartment. I think last count it was maybe a dozen, which I know seems kind of silly, particularly if you're just buying your first one. I like them because I set them up with something called multi-room music, where I can combine multiple ALEXA devices together, and it creates a nice sort of speaker system throughout my apartment here. But with the Echo Dot, you basically get full ALEXA, so you can get your weather, your news, your alarms, you can play music through Pandora, Spotify. They added support for Apple Music recently, and it's just you get a real lot for, and in this case, if you get it on sale, get it on deal, you can typically get a Dot for around $30, depending again on the generation you buy and so forth. Right now, Amazon has a deal on the Echo Dot going on where it is, I want to say it's like 40% off or something. You can get those types of deals on Prime Day for sure. Right now they're having a September back to school special, so 40% is 40% off is excellent. I've seen comparable deals though, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then Prime Day as well. So I would say yeah, and then just kind of down, give a few more details here, so you can play music, you do your audiobooks as well and podcasts, which is awesome. I don't know if I mentioned Amazon Music, but they support Amazon Music as well. And then, of course, ALEXA, jokes, alarms, timers, all that good stuff that, if you want to set a study timer, for instance, and or, make sure you're getting up in the morning to get to your classes on time, Echo Dot is a good way to go. You can also use this to control the smart bulbs that I'm going to recommend, the smart plug that I'll recommend, smart camera that I'll recommend, and also a couple of other things that we'll get into as we go through the video here. So Echo Dot, number one on the list, I would say. Absolutely a great buy if you want. And also what I'll do, I think, is rather than try and upsell you in anything, because I know, again, I'm trying to keep this as budget conscious as possible, but what I'll do is I'll also include links to some more premium products, if you will, down below. So I was going to just suggest now that if you have a little bit more money to spend, you want to go more high end, going with one of the Echo Show devices is probably will make things more interesting, because that you'll have an ALEXA speaker with a screen, and my recommendation on that would be the Echo Show 8, not the 10 and or the 15. Particularly for a dorm, great size, great bedside display. But what I'll do is the rest of the video, rather than try and upsell you on anything at all, what I'll do is I'll include all my budget picks down in the description with links over to Amazon, and then I'll also include a premium option for each one that will be a little bit more money, but if you want to get something a little bit higher end, a little bit more advanced, then that might be a good option for you. But the budget ones will be down there. There are affiliate links. If you use them, all proceeds go to support the channel. I basically invest everything that I make with my YouTube channel back into either buying new tech or just, basically keeping lights on, doors open, that sort of stuff. So, all right, so enough said about Amazon ALEXA, but that will get you a nice little smart home hub, if you will, that will let you control your other devices. So next on my list is a smart bulb. And so for these, so I'm a big Philips Hue guy, and I've been using Philips Hue bulbs for a long time. So that is basically the whole ecosystem where they have a hub, and then they have the different bulbs you can buy and so forth. But they're expensive, so they're a little bit more price. They're actually a lot more pricey. And today there's a number of brands out there that will let you basically, you can just buy a single bulb, a single color smart bulb, a single smart bulb, color and or black and white. For color, I like LifeX because compatible with ALEXA, compatible with all of the major ecosystems actually. And then what it will get you is a smart bulb that is essentially plug and play, super bright. So it's a 1100 lumens, so that's super bright for actually it will light up your whole dorm room. And then you can also play with billions of colors of colors, and also different grades of white. So this is a great budget color smart bulb, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about LifeX. I have a couple of these in my apartment, and they just work flawlessly. And the other cool thing about this is there's no special hub required, like with some of the Hue bulbs. Some of the newer bulbs you don't really need one, but with Hue generally you're going to want to have either a hub or a bridge to control them. With LifeX you don't need that. So basically buy the bulb, plug and play. You can control it with your ALEXA device. ALEXA, turn on the lights, ALEXA, set the bulb to blue, ALEXA, set the bulb to fuchsia or whatever your favorite color is. So great product by LifeX there. Can't recommend it enough. Great way to get started with smart home. You can also, if you don't have an ALEXA device, you can basically control that using your app on your phone, and also potentially Siri and HomeKit. So okay, so that's my smart bulb recommendation for a budget color smart bulb. Next, we're going to get into a smart plug. Now, what I love about these is, number one, they're super reliable. In fact, more reliable than smart bulbs. I've had less issues using smart plugs than I have with my bulbs in my crib, for sure, by a mile. So I have a plug, for instance, that controls my ice machine here. I can basically say ALEXA, turn on the ice machine, and she does it. It starts making ice, which is super cool. And the other thing that these are great for is if you have a dumb light, say a lava lamp that you've had for years that you plug in the wall, you can make that smart by using a smart plug. Or I wouldn't recommend necessarily controlling your computer with it, just because it basically acts as an on-off switch, and I don't know if you want to do that, but you can use it to control any manner of devices. I have a friend who uses it to basically make sure she constantly leaves her curling iron on, and she leaves the house, and she can actually monitor the smart plug to know that if she happens to be going to class A, you can actually just turn the hairdryer off from anywhere using the app. So there are a million brands of smart plugs out there, I would say, and some of them are super cheap, like few bucks. I would say be very careful of the no-name brand smart plugs. I actually had one I tried to get away with using a smart plug a couple years back to light up my Christmas tree, and it literally fried my Christmas lights and almost caused a fire. So Casa is a great brand of smart plug. There's also Amazon. So Casa is TP-Link, which is a very reliable name in smart home technology. So this is another great option. The thing that I like about this, so some of them also have energy monitoring, if that's a concern. I would say in the dorm, you're probably not going to care about monitoring energy too much, because it's probably included with your rent. Is that right? Rent? Tuition. Right. And then, so just a couple of benefits of Casa. Basically, it gives you smart outlet control from anywhere, as I said, so you can, control it with your smartphone using the Casa app. You can set schedules for things like, lights. Christmas time, that comes in handy for sure. And then you basically work with most Wi-Fi networks. So in this case, 2.4 gigahertz networks are required. Nearly all dorm campuses have 2.4 gigahertz networks from what I know. Just a word of caution, I would say before you buy any smart home tech, check with your college or university's IT page to make sure that they will support the devices. Some universities, there'll be issues with putting ALEXA on there. It typically just means you need to contact your IT department and ask them to make an exception for you. I think now with more of these things coming online, that'll be less of an issue, but just make sure that you're actually going to be able to get the stuff to work. You can always return it if it doesn't, but I would say, yeah, if I was me, I would want to know whether or not, for instance, my dorm can actually support ALEXA. So, okay. Next on the list is we have a security camera. So maybe you're going to want this, maybe not. If it's going to freak out your roommates, there is that. I would just check with them to make sure that they're cool with having, a security camera installed in your dorm room. Nice thing about this is basically you use it for fun, first of all. Like I have had one that I had trained on a fish tank for a long time, where if I was out of my apartment here and or was at work or whatever, in your case in class, I had it trained on my fish tank or my pet or what have you, and I'd be able to check up on my fish from wherever I was. So fun from that perspective. The other thing is probably, again, less of a concern in the dorm room, or maybe not, is just from a security perspective. If you have a single, for instance, I would say no brainer, install it, and then if anybody ever enters the apartment, you'll have the footage stored. Generally, it typically either gets stored on device or on the cloud, and then you basically you've caught the thief red-handed. I actually have another recommendation coming up in a bit for an even better security device, I think, for your dorm. But nice thing about this is you can monitor your crib remotely from anywhere, and you can actually control this with ALEXA for certain things. And so let's just take a closer look down here at some of the specs for this one as well. So I'm recommending the second gen just because you're going to get better quality. This one also has two-way talk. So basically, if somebody's in, you can have fun with your roommates or whatever. Hey, I see you're in the apartment. Can you, grab me a piece of fruit or whatever. So yeah, and then so all right, motion detection. So it actually, if it detects motion, it'll send you a message on through the app on your phone, which is also cool. These things are super easy to set up. Not quite plug and play, and there's a little bit of configuring that you need to do with the app and so forth, but wicked easy. You guys will be able to figure it out for sure. Okay, so that is a smart security. That's my recommendation for a smart security camera. And so that was number 4. Number 5, I'm going to say a smart door sensor, like the security camera, but different. So what this will do is every time somebody enters your crib, you'll get a notification, basically, that, and I think that now you can actually set it up so it will tell you who enters your apartment and when. So kind of cool. This one here is the Aqara door sensor, and it requires a separate hub, but could be worth its weight in gold if you have issues in terms of security. I'll also drop a link down below if I can find one. I think a lot of these door sensors actually do require hubs these days. And the hub might actually put us a little bit over $139 price tag. Let me see if I can find a competing one as well that doesn't require a hub, and I'll also drop that down in the description. But Aqara is probably the most widely respected of the sensor products out there, and it's also another very reputable smart home company where you're not going to have too many issues. So yeah, so for this particular one, it does require the hub. And like I said, I'll actually include one that doesn't down below. And you can also get window sensors if you're worried about people creeping in the windows or whatever. But sensors in general, they also have lighting sensors and so forth. If you, for instance, you open your closet door, you can get a sensor that will turn on your lights. So sensor is another smart home essential. So I wanted to include one on the list. Like I said, I'll see if I can find an even more affordable one that doesn't require the hub. I'll include links to this sensor as well as hub down below as well. Okay. Last one is a fun one, and I know a lot of you guys have been playing with these LED strip lights, particularly if you game and or you have a home theater or entertainment center in your dorm and you want to sort of spice it up a little bit. Govee is probably one of the more affordable, not one of the best, but one of the more affordable, reliable LED strip lights that you can get. This one, again, trying to keep things budget friendly, is 16.4 feet, so that's exactly how many feet you'll get of the strip. Might be great for something like if you want to, let's say you have a loft and you want to install some lighting under the rim of your bed. I think that would look super cool. What others do is they actually run them along the side of the ceiling. You can put it under a desk, behind your monitor, behind your television, to sort of give those things a little bit more pop. What I like about Govee is, again, works with ALEXA, and you can basically, it has a bunch of different features that you can use out of the box through the app and or with ALEXA, like special effects and things, which is cool. And there's also a music sync capability that will make it sort of like a little, strobe light effect, disco party, where the colors actually sync up to the music. And these lights are absolutely beautiful, and I don't have these yet. It's on my list of things to buy for my apartment. I'm actually waiting to get some of my other smart home stuff in order before I deck it out with the LED lights. But my son has them. He had them in his dorm, and he absolutely loved them. And some of his roommates actually bought them at his recommendation. So, yeah. So, total cost of all of this stuff. And again, I don't know if I actually mentioned this earlier, but I'm technically not supposed to mention price as an Amazon affiliate. So all those links down below, affiliate links, if you use them, again, they go to help the channel. I'm not supposed to mention price, and that's why on screen I'll have some of these prices blacked out, which makes sense if you think about it from the Amazon's perspective, because the specific prices of these products go up and down depending on the sale and so forth. So I can't give a specific price, but the range and sum total of all of this stuff, and ChatGPT was my guide here and sort of helped me confirm this stuff for you guys, was for all of the gear that I just recommended, based on the current sales and where things are at, it was $139. It was actually a little bit less than that, but I erred on the side of caution because right now Amazon's having that back to school sale, which if you're looking to upgrade your smart home, your smart dorm now, I would say, is a great option. If not, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all of this stuff comes down 20, 30, 40%. Great time of year to buy. Also Prime Day, which is in the summer. I think this last year it was in July. It's typically either June, July, or August for Prime Day, but you can get even better deals on the with those sales. So hope this video helped you guys, and hope you have a lot of fun with your smart dorm. I wish that I actually had this really weird light. I'll just share this one story, and then I'll shut up. But I had this weird light that I bought at Sharper Image called the Whale, and it was basically just this little round ball that had these fiber optic lights going out of it, and it was just an interesting. There were color, and they cycled through the colors and so forth. But it was very much a conversation piece in my dorm room back in the day, and I just know all of this stuff will just hopefully make your college experience a little bit more enjoyable and fun. And hope this helped. If it did, please, if you wouldn't mind, just give me a thumbs up or smash that like button. It helps out the channel a lot, and I appreciate you all. I hope this video helped you, and hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.